Hail adventurers, 'tis I, Tila, Jihad, Johnny, and now featuring Bonbons with Pwnstarr Gaming. Guys, how are you today? I hope your week has been as good as mine has been. Today's video is going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to it all week. This week's video is going to be about what's going on the test center. There is a huge Dexxer overhaul, archery overhaul, and basically they're making that play style of, you know, go into war mode and double click on something a lot more fun, and they're being innovative with it. I really like what I've seen, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, as you guys know, we do have our beer of the day. Today's beer of the day is really cool. It's out of Bend, Oregon, all the way back from 1988. And Bend, Oregon was actually going through somewhat of a recession. There was 2 sawmills in the town, and one kind of went out and the other one just kind of took over. But either way, the entire town was just kind of, you know, retail places and just places in general were just boarding up their walls and going out of business left and right. All of a sudden comes this 31-year-old guy that's really excited to open up a brewery, and everybody thinks he's crazy. He can't get a loan in town, nothing. Somehow he gets this place opened up. He puts out a job listing for a brewmaster because he didn't even know how to do it, and don't know why you'd go into business if you didn't know how, right? But either way, you know, he set up there for open interviews. No one shows up. Finally, he gets about 15 applicants. He hires 12 of them, and that becomes Deschutes Brewing. Deschutes Brewing is named after a river called the Deschutes River that goes right through Bend, Oregon. And, I mean, everybody thought that they weren't going to do well, and obviously they did. Deschutes Brewing's a pretty big brewery, and right now their biggest competition, or not competition, their biggest issue is that there is a ton of competition these days. If you guys haven't noticed, there's tons of craft breweries that are popping up everywhere, and they are just trying to stay innovative and come up with new things, which is kind of funny. You see tons and tons of different types of, not just IPAs, but of ales, of lagers, of port. I mean, just these little tiny spin-offs, sours now. There's a really cool video on their YouTube. It's a documentary, a 25-minute documentary of how Deschutes came about, and I was pretty, I don't know, I was pretty glued to it. So I could ramble on about it, but if you want to, go check it out. But let's go ahead and take a drink of this beer and see if that 25-minute documentary was worth the beer. And then let's get into this Dexxer overhaul, shall we? I like that a lot. That's that'd be a great summer IPA. Most IPAs aren't real, like, you know, drink a whole bunch of them. This one's pretty good. You know, usually IPAs just got a lot of flavor, and you kind of drink 1 or 2, and then you go to like a light beer and just get smashed, right? This one right here, I could drink a couple of them before I had to go to a light beer. Either way, guys, we're 4 minutes in. Let's get started on this Dexxer overhaul, shall we? Alright, so right now on the test center is a really cool patch that's in testing, because it's on the test center, right? Over Dexxers and Archers. Something that's really neat, because in Ultima, as a Dexxer or an Archer, you just go into war mode and you double click on the monster, and you just kind of sit there while it auto attacks, and you keep yourself alive, right? Well, they've done something really cool. They've added basically a codex. On the test center, all you do is you go up to the little purple statue and you click on the complete all codexes. At that point, it's going to just put in your bag every single codex that's max tiered and all that good stuff, so you can really test it out and have a good time. I urge you, go on the test center and play around with it and find out what's going to work best for you. Now, let's start off with the macing one. The macing one the macing weapon skill has always been my personal favorite one, simply because it's just a big ball of metal that you're just bashing some poor monster demon skull in with, right? Well, there's a couple different stances in this codex. There's the aggressive stance, which basically you're going to take more damage, but you're definitely going to deal out more damage. This one might be really good if you've got a partner with you that's going to be in a defensive stance and you're going to be on the aggressive end just dealing out damage. Or maybe you're going for that glass cannon build. Who knows? You've got the defensive stance, which is going to obviously make you more defensive. You've got a cleave stance, which is going to target a random enemy outside of the one that you have targeted. I can see this one being really good for like, I don't want to say an AoE farming type build, but that's pretty much what I can think of. It's a cleave, multi-target, heck yeah. We've got our wind up, which is going to decrease our swing speed, but it's going to increase our non-stealth damage. I can see this one being really, really cool for like a burst damage with a two-hand weapon. Switch out of that two-hand weapon and put on a one-hand weapon and then go into like an aggressive stance for some maximum damage output. The next one is going to be Sunder. Sunder's cool if you think of a turret. It stands in one place and it deals a lot of damage. This one right here, as long as you're standing stationary, you're going to be dealing out a ton of damage. There's also different finishers that activate at, as of right now, 33%, similar to the blood aspect, right? They have a chance to trigger based on different factors. Also, keep in mind, when you're switching stance, it does cost 5 mana. So, even though you can, as of right now, switch stances instantly, it does take 5 mana. Keep that in mind. All right, and for swords. Swords is it's a favorite for a lot of people. Basically, the aggressive stance is more of an accuracy stance. It gives you little to no chance to miss. I'm not joking. Once you're tier 5, you're never really going to hear that whiff that you just dread to hear. It is just nonstop clank, 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 clank. Pretty dang cool, especially with an Averite weapon or a supremely accurate weapon. Next is defensive. It is based on how many successful hits you have is how much more damage resistance you have. So it kind of builds up as you hit more and more. The next one is going to be Cleave. That is, once again, a multi-target one. And then Warrior is, I would say it's kind of like your all-around good old boy one. It's got your accuracy increase, it's got your defense increase, and it's got your damage increase. Pretty good one. The flaying one, that one's going to be based off of your weapon procs. You know how swords are, they have a chance to apply a bleed effect. Well, here you go. As long as you are standing still, and if you apply that bleed effect, this is just going to increase the damage of it more. For the special finisher moves, it has your an increased bleed effect, and it also has an execute, which is really, really cool. That's the one that I did mostly with, and I actually really enjoyed it. Alright, let's talk about fencing. Fencing was really cool. The aggressive stance was a faster attack speed for a more damage intake, obviously. Defensive, once again, more successful hits equals more damage resistance. Cleave, as always, just a nice little multi-target one. And then there was Blackguard. Blackguard was pretty cool. Basically, it gave a disease effect on the target, and then there was Repost, which increases the cripple effect if you're stationary. Once again, another one of those turret type damage stances. Then, as far as the finishers go, you've got Assassinate, which is just a really big hit, and then Flurry This was a lot of fun. Just a bunch of hourglasses spread out everywhere around your character, and you just started swinging like a madman. Super, super fast attack speed. If you look at the patch notes, actually, you'll see that they made it where whirlwind runes were different, and also there was a cap on attack speed. Have a feeling this is probably why, because just with flurry alone, it was super fast. Wow. Then there was the long-awaited archery. Now, archery has always been that one that I think people just play because they want to play, even though it really isn't that great. Now, don't get me wrong, it's got its place in PvP templates, even some tamer templates. It just, however, really has been missing that certain edge or that or whatever it is. Well, the different stances are Arcane, which was really cool because it increases the accuracy and damage of your shots, but it does, as a drawback, have a chance to consume 1 mana per rank. So if you're rank 5, it might take 5 mana from you. Now, if you're a Dexxer and you have 25 mana, then you will find you depleted of mana rather quickly. Fouling is very similar to all your defensive stances, and Incendiary is very similar to all your cleave stances. Now, there is one called Long Shot, which was basically a super long range one. I'm not joking, you could shoot from very far away. It was really cool and probably really helpful if you were going to be kiting monsters.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Watch this.
What the heck are you doing?
That's what I'm talking about.
Maiming, it just increased the, gave you better hinder effects. And then as far as the finishing moves, there were some really cool ones. Ricochet was like an improved cleave, and then you had Pincushion, which would just do multiple attacks on one target in succession. It was really, really nice when it just went off and you did a lot of damage. As far as the shield codex goes, I didn't spend a whole lot of time testing it and really trying to make sure that I understood everything going on, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. But basically, there's different defensive stances for different situations, whether it be bleeds or just regular physical damage, and once again, I feel like stance dancing will be a thing. I'm just not quite sure how mana will fare upon it. Alright, now before we jump into our raffle for your chance to win anywhere from 1 to 100,000 gold, which all you have to do is just comment below your suggestion of what you would like to see for next week's video. Let's talk about the conclusion. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried that this might overpower Dexxers, and that's still unclear. I mean, it is still in testing, and balancing isn't quite complete. But after playing it this week, I realized it just gives a lot more flavor to what ultimately was just a go into war mode and double click on a monster, and it will add a lot more flavor to this type of playstyle, whether it's going to be you by yourself or you in a group of players. I'm really actually excited about it. Once again, Outlands staff, you've only impressed me, and I look forward to seeing how this all plays out. Now, let's jump into our raffle. Alright, here we are with this week's contestants. Once again, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Thank you guys very much. I see you guys sharing these videos on Discord, talking to other people, helping explaining things. And remember, every time somebody new views our videos, it just helps them stick around that much longer or possibly find a home here on Outlands. So let's see who wins this week's raffle. Mr. Solver 100, congratulations, my man. How much are you going to win? We've got it put in here, and 26K. All you got to do, Mr. Solver 100, is just message me on Discord, and I will find a time and gladly meet you in shelter and give you a check for 26,000 gold.